Okay, it's time for another very short explained/reminder video. This is me and my co-host Eden. Today we are going to talk about the very important question of why do we not throw out all of our masks in medical waste bins where they can be incinerated? And the short answer is we do, for lots and lots of positive cases. Now, in a home use context, we don't do that. We could, but we in some ways get to the same result. And to explain why, I wanted to use this. What is this? What are these? You know what they are. They're Duplos. Duplos, that's right. Now, this Duplos chain kind of explains why we do it. If we think about this just like a protein, proteins we call polypeptide chains of amino acid. I won't make you say that. But if we go back to our biology class in high school, you'll remember that there was a thing called a ribosome that reads DNA and calls little amino acids. There are about 20 of them in the human body. It comes along and it says, hey, I need a gray and a red. And these amino acids are themselves molecules which have little atoms that compose them. And the ribosome reads 3 of them at a time and then attaches them in a little configuration just like this. And it can make a very long chain of these that link together. Now, just like this Duplo, which if you ever step on in the middle of the night, which occasionally happens, causes some significant pain, can be very difficult to... That's the passage of my daughter.
Hello.
Yeah, we see. If you step on it, it can really hurt your foot because in this small form, it can be quite strong. And if this is an atom, this little connection point here is an atom, well, that's super strong. The only way to mess with that is nuclear fission or fusion.
If that is all like this, I will step on them and they will hurt my foot.
That's exactly right. That's exactly what would happen.
And also, if I step on them, I'll trip over.
That's right. That's exactly what would happen. Now, when they're all together linked up like this, however, what happens when you shake them? What happens? Do you want to try? Do you want to try? What happens if you shake very hard? Oh, they start falling apart. Oh, dear. Now, when they're all together like that, they're actually weaker than when they're individual pieces. And that is what we would call protein denaturation. The most simple example of that is when you put your egg inside of a frying pan. What happens to an egg when you put it inside of a frying pan? What color does it turn? You know, it turns white, doesn't it? That's because the albumin, the protein in there, unfolds and refolds into a different configuration so that it goes from translucent to white. Now, what does this all have to do with COVID-19 and your mask? Well, your COVID-19 has on the outside a bunch of little protein spikes, hence the name COVID or coronavirus, the spiky appearance of a crown. And if left out in sunlight or heat, it will shake just like that and fall apart, given enough time. The rays of sunshine can rip it apart. The ambient temperature in the air can rip it apart eventually. Now, if we have a lot of concentrated virus and we want to shake it apart even faster, well, then we heat it up. This is literally what, if you recall, again, back to high school physics, what heat is the vibration of molecules like this. And if they get too hot, they just denature and fall apart. So the reason why it's not such a real problem to put a small concentration of COVID in your waste bin at home is because over time, it will denature. And we don't have to worry about long chain organic molecules like this denaturing, because they will fall apart. We do have to worry about smaller ones, smaller chemicals that are harder to get apart, leaching into the water supply. These longer ones will denature as long as they're held apart. It's also a good and helpful hint, then, sunshine is the best antiseptic, as the Supreme Court used to say, if you do have reusable masks, place them out in the sunshine, heat them up, do something that is going to cause them to do this. It might help not just for COVID, but other long-chain organic proteins. That is your explainer on why We don't need medical waste bins for everybody.